From December 2023, I've been working on a project to completely redesign my living room. So in today's video, I'll guide you through the entire revamp process that transformed the space from this to this. This video is sponsored by GrowthMade, which specializes in premium high-quality accessories for your workspace. As a reminder, you can find all the links to the products featured in this video in the description below or in my website. When I planned the project, I didn't have anything clear in mind, but I had a few goals. I wanted to dedicate a section of the space to a new desk setup that my family could share for personal use, create a cozy and relaxing area to chill and watch movies at night, and have a dedicated space to cultivate my growing hobby for plants. Lastly, I wanted to achieve a unified aesthetic by combining light wood and decor to create a bright space that felt alive. After taking the measurements and creating a 3D model of the space in Blender, I started experimenting with some layouts until I was satisfied. With my previous experience of revamping my office, I already had a good idea of where to get the products I needed. The next step was to create a mood board and start seeing how the products would fit together. When the ideation phase was done, I started getting to work. After getting rid of the furniture I didn't want anymore and giving the walls a fresh coat of white paint, I started assembling the new furniture. I kept the same sofa since I was already over budget, but I decided to change the covers to a light color. To enhance the space, I bought the Bindum rug from IKEA. Having a big rug helps separate the space and adds extra coziness. My father and I are book enthusiasts, and we needed a library for a growing book collection. I chose the Hemnes library, which was a perfect match for the aesthetics of the space. I initially placed it near the window, but it blocked a lot of light, so I eventually moved it behind the table. For storage, I bought two Besta cabinets, one for the TV and one for the entry. I really love the vertical white door pattern on them as it matched perfectly with the wood panels I plan to hang on the walls. I believe the Besta collection from IKEA is a huge bang for the buck, offering creativity at an affordable price with a clean design. The sofa alone was a bit small, so I bought the groundlit footrest, which also provides additional storage space. A center table is essential in a living room. I got the Borgaby in birch veneer, which breaks up the mostly edgy furniture, creating a more visually interesting space. Another change I made to the sofa was replacing the dark feet with light wood ones. This not only added a more sophisticated look, but also lifted it a few centimeters off the ground, making it easier to clean underneath. Finally, the most exciting part for me was building the new desk setup. Like in my office, I bought a new carbide countertop from IKEA, but this time the 186 cm oak version. To maximize the desk surface, I took it to a woodworking place to cut it to fit perfectly into the corner of the living room. For the standing frame, I bought the cheapest one I could find on Amazon that could be delivered to my place, which turned out to work perfectly fine. As always, I'll leave the links in the description. The chair I chose for this setup was the Hut of Gel. The decision was purely for aesthetics and completely not worth the price tag. For this price, there are way better alternatives like the Siho Doro C300, but it couldn't be delivered here due to logistical reasons. After adding the curtains and a decorative lamp, it was time to improve the lighting. While I'm not really convinced by the hanging lamp selection, I'm more than happy with the Philips Hue ecosystem. I got the bridge to have full control over the bolts and light strips, which I can now control with my voice too. I love seeing plants thrive in my home. For a long time, I thought about creating an indoor greenhouse to keep the rarest ones. And after consuming a lot of IKEA greenhouse content on YouTube, I got the Millsbo cabinet. I didn't have high expectations for it, and I generally dislike glass furniture since it gets dirty easily, but it turned out to be better than I expected. This time, I got the wood panels from Wood Up instead of the wood veneer hub, due to logistical problems. They turned out to be the worst purchase experience of the project. I encountered all kinds of problems with them that I didn't have with the wood veneer hub. First of all, some arrived damaged, which could have been avoided by securing them with more protection. Second, some of the staples weren't anchored correctly and I had to waste time fixing them. Third, the wood panels weren't perfectly aligned with the foam. Finally, the worst problem of all, they bend a lot. For the price of 130 euros per panel, this purchase wasn't worth the money at all, and I highly suggest buying the panels from another company, like the Wood Veneer Hub, which unfortunately couldn't ship their panels to me. Complaints aside, I worked with what I had. I started by taking measurements and cutting the panels in half to get more out of them. I ended up cutting 3 panels in half, so I had a total of 8 instead of 5. Since I really liked the way I use the panels in my office, I used the same idea here. I bought a kit of hangers meant for cabinets to hang them on the wall. I really like this method since it limits wall damage, allows you to run cables behind, and lets you easily move or remove them. Then I installed the groove-made wall shelves, which added a touch of class to the space. I love their design, however, keep in mind that they're not meant to hold a lot of weight and serve more of an aesthetic function. For the entrance, I bought this Stockholm mirror to make the room brighter and create the illusion of a larger space. Below it, I installed the catch-all by GroveMate to store smaller objects like keys and controllers. Before installing the TV, I had to fix the cabinet first. Something I didn't take into account was that the cabinet didn't feature a cable management system, and I couldn't pass the cables through. However, since the back slides in, I simply decided to take one panel out, and the problem was easily solved without damaging the furniture. My TV of choice was the LG C3 65 inches, which I hung on the wall with a TV hanger I bought on Amazon. It's from a brand called Peepshell and can support TVs up to 75 inches and hold up to 60 kilos. It was pretty easy to install, and the build is rock solid. On the back of the TV, I attached the Philips Hue light strip so that I can connect it with a bridge and control everything with one remote. I'm not going into much more detail about the TV, but it was a great choice for its sharpness and its future-proof look. Finally, the most exciting part, the desk setup. My go-to accessories for this setup had to be from GroveMade. I got the maple desk shelf, which perfectly matches the wall shelves and looks super clean. For the other accessories, I chose steel, maple and grey colors to create a cohesive feel. The small notepad is essential, as I find it extremely useful for taking quick notes. I also added a tray to store smaller items and a large grey wool felt desk pad to define the workspace. To hold my MacBook, I chose the maple dock, which has felt to protect the laptop from scratches and provide good ventilation for the fans. My monitor of choice is the old Huawei MateView that I had in my office, which I've now replaced with the Studio Display. For the keyboard, Keychron was kind enough to send me their Q5 Max mechanical board. What I love about it is that it's wireless and has a pretty cool retro vibe. The typing experience is a bit loud and talky out of the box. The build is not very heavy and features 22 types of RGB lighting, which I'm not a big fan of. Mouse-wise, I had to get the MX Master 3S in white for this occasion. If you're a subscriber to the channel, you know how much I love it. To connect the Mac with the other peripherals, I recycled the Thunderbolt 4 dock from Hyper that I used to have in my office. A screen bar is also essential for those night working sessions, so I got the BenQ Hello, which I ended up placing on the back of the monitor for an extra clean look. OrbitKey also contributed by sending their white nest to store and organize additional items with the added benefit of taking them with you if needed. While the Keychron keyboard is awesome, I wanted to try the Apple keyboard with the GroveMade tray. And to be honest, aesthetically, this is goals. The perfect fit of the keyboard is extremely satisfying, and in combination with the wrist rest, the practicality is unmatched. The final stage of the makeover involves finding pieces to make the space feel less empty. What I like to do to decorate any room is to find wall art or poster designs on Etsy. After selecting the ones I like the most, I created a mood board in Photoshop and played with different layouts. I ended up buying 14 different digital pieces for about 60 euros to spread across the room. Then I printed them at a local photography store and framed each one of them in oak frames that I bought at Leroy Merlin. I also got a new clock at IKEA to create visual separation from the vertical and horizontal lines, and created a gallery wall to add a bit of color to the empty wall. In order to hide the cables, I hung a recycled piece of wood panel in front of the sockets. This simple solution, combined with some cable ducting attached to the wall, made a great visual improvement. To manage the cables behind the desk, I used the cable management system from Balolo. I would have preferred a cable management tray in white, but none were available on Amazon. For this project, I ended up spending roughly 7,000 euros, not including the gifted items from the brands. I'm very happy with how the desk setup corner turned out. It looks like the nemesis of my home office. The decor still has a long way to go, and I'll keep you updated about future upgrades. I hope you found this video useful and can find inspiration if you plan on revamping your own living room. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.